Hey, you guys, everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. So, y'all, I was on my way back from the gym. I normally cover reality TV news, trending topics, entertainment news, which I think this is going to be trending topics. I don't know, trending news. Either way, I was on my way back from the gym when I got a message from one of my mods telling me that we're going to watch our words here because I'm sure YouTube is going to try to take it down. I've already heard that they're already taking videos down. So I got to try to watch my words, you guys. But yeah, I was coming home from the gym and they was like, hey, did you see this? And I immediately start looking it up and I can't find nothing. When my mod messaged me, I could find nothing on this happening. I was checking YouTube, I was checking everything. Finally got a link to a video. I just have to say, listen, I don't get in politics on YouTube because I know everybody has their own beliefs. And what's crazy is you might like me when you don't know my politics, but all of a sudden you hear my politics, you might not like me anymore. So I don't discuss politics. You know what I'm saying? But so that's why I'm actually scared to even be doing this because I don't talk about politics and I don't want to divide the people that do watch me and I don't want to lose subscribers because our politics are different. Either way, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, if you lean left, lean right, Democrat, whatever you are, to try to take somebody out just ain't okay. Like if you are trying to shoot at someone, that is not okay. You know what I'm saying? You need to check yourself if you are literally trying to shoot at one because you hate them so much. Now, yes, it was multiple rounds, but it appeared to only graze the ear. I did see there's news coming out from his camp saying he's okay. Y'all, not gonna lie, in the audio, they're like trying to get him to the car. He's like, let me get my shoe on. Let me get my shoe on. Like, even though this man just been shot in the ear, he don't want to walk off stage in his socks. And then he's like fist pumping, saying, fight, fight, fight. And I'm like, listen, that's buck wild right there. That is buck. This let somebody shoot at me, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm just going home. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna watch the video, and we're gonna go over this. I did hear them say suspect down or something like that. So I do think whoever did this has. We're gonna. This is developing. Okay, the news will be coming out as we're on the live, and we will be on the live as everything is coming out. Okay, so just bear with me. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna watch this video.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened. Oh.
Move this there. Hold. When you're ready, on you.
Ready?
Move. Up. Go, move. Go.
Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the stair.
Get ready. Get ready.
We ready?
Shoot us down. Shoot us down.
Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're clear.
Let's move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on. Let me get my shoes. I got you.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold that in your head, buddy.
So we gotta move to the class.
Let me get my shoes. Watch out.
Wait.
He's like, give me my shoes, y'all. So that's wild. Okay. I'm like, it is kind of crazy to see, like, there were multiple shots, clearly multiple shots. So I'm like, could it be that he could have got hit on the shoulder too, and we only know like right here by the ear because that's what it's saying that it grazed his ear. They did say shoot her down. Did you guys hear them say that as well? Let's see what all we got out here that's being reported as far as what took place. We're gonna go over to. I've been seeing the Daily Mail pop up with a lot of articles, so let's jump over to the Daily Mail. We'll watch that again a couple of times, you guys. Has Biden made a statement yet? Not that I'm aware of. Okay, shots fired at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania as former president is seen with blood across his face. All right, let's see. Donald Trump appeared to be shot in the ear as gunshots were fired at the former president at a rally in Pennsylvania. Trump grabbed the side of his place and blood splattered across his neck as several popping sounds were heard. The former president quickly pumped a fist at the crowd to show his supporters he was not severely injured as Secret Service agents raced to the stage to race him away. This is the developing story, and more will be updated as more information is confirmed. So here's some photos. There he is right there. That's kind of crazy. The story is unfolding. Frantic scenes took hold as shots rang out as Trump supporters raced from the event. As Trump pumped his fist to the crowd, some were heard cheering his name and chanting USA and Make America Great Again. There's no early information regarding who the shooter may have been or if any arrests have been made. But did we not hear them say? Yeah, I think it just grazed the back of his ear, maybe, or something. Secret Service encircled Trump within seconds of the shots being fired, and he appeared to be mouthing something to supporters. It looked like he was mouthing "fight, fight, fight." I am curious how Biden will respond to this. This will be an ad at first. Come on, go ahead and play.
Look at what happened.
Move it there. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the fair.
Get ready.
We ready? Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
Shooters down.
Let's move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
He's like, I'm not walking off this stage with just my socks and blood on my ear. At least let me get my shoes.
What's up?
Okay, I'm trying to find more information. And I'm trying to do some stuff, you guys, to see what all is posted out there yet. All right, let's see. We do see an ambulance leave later on. Wherever they panned the camera, I don't really know why they panned it this way. It did say shoot her down. It
I know
said
these parts will fit my car, or
it definitely said shoot her down on the video. So I definitely think the pew pew. Yeah. Okay. The pew pew man is dead. It's just been confirmed. All right. Let me go see what else we got. Bear with me, guys. All right. Trump says he is fine. This is so crazy. I've always kind of thought something like this could happen just because of how. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. Where is it? Is that it? KTLA. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely think it was a real Donald Trump bloodied after apparent gunshots at Pennsylvania. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. I hate that there are so many ads when you are trying to look at a site. Like, I get it. You got to make your money, but there's no point in having 50 ads on one article. All right. Donald Trump wounded by apparent gunfire. Donald Trump's campaign said in a statement that he is fine after being whisked off the stage at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, after apparent gunshots rang out through the crowd. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. Spokesman Stephen Chung said in a statement, he is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. The Secret Service said in a statement that the former president is safe. He's like, yeah, I ain't going down without a fight. I hate to ask, like, what's everybody's opinions, but I kind of want to know, like, what is everybody's opinions of this? Are they really like? Is it really that like people would rather kill him than him have the chance of winning? Like, I don't know. This is too much. But let's see what the news is on who the shooter was. Let's see what we can find on that. Let's see if anything. One dead at Trump rally. Okay. Okay, so somebody. Okay, where will he be making the statement at on his? I know he has a YouTube channel. I wonder if he'll be making it there. I think they're saying the one that's dead is probably who the shooter was, more than likely. That's probably who they're saying is dead. Okay. All right, let's read this. I'm going to bring Donald Trump's YouTube channel up just in case he makes a statement. It may be on his channel. There's a lot up now. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to this. All right, Trump shooting latest. One day at Trump rally as bloodied former president tells supporters to fight. Donald Trump is pictured bloodied as he rushed off the stage by Secret Service after shooting at a rally in Pennsylvania. This is going to be his next campaign photo, shirt, merch. Like, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with it, but this is literally what he does. Like, well, I mean, not this, but when something happens to him, he turns it around, just like his mugshot. He's got merch with his mugshot on it right now. Right Side Broadcasting has everything live on there. Okay, let me go check. I don't need to stream somebody else's channel, but let's go over to yeah, the picture will go down as one of the most iconic in history, more than likely. Honestly, that's true. I'm gonna have to stop and commentate on this, or they'll definitely get me for copyright. But that is true everywhere he goes. And he did an interview the other day with Dr. Phil. He did one with Dr. Phil, and then he did a podcast with Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul. I watched both of them just because I am. I'm a little into politics. I don't normally cover it on my channel, but I am a little bit into politics. You guys can't hear me? On this video, though, y'all can't hear who's. Maybe y'all probably can't. This woman is basically saying that like danger follows Trump wherever he goes because of the fact that he is running. And let me change it. Okay, I probably know why you guys can't hear it. I couldn't. All right. But yeah, just that danger's going to follow him wherever he goes. You guys tell me if y'all can hear it now.
President or candidate. So when you put them in a place like this, you also have to think strategically, what about all the people there? Now, you'll see the barricades that are set up. You see the stage that's set up. What you may not see in that shot is you will have ingress and egress elements. That means you want multiple ways in and multiple ways out. So you want movement for the president. You also want to create an alternate movement for him if he can't get out the primary way. So we've got typically at least 2 ways in, 2 ways out. And those vehicles that are staged there, they are positioned there specifically to evacuate him. Because also you're in an open area here, right? So you don't have that concealment to cover. You have, whenever you do an open area like this, massive line of sight issues, meaning you can get the threat from so many different ways, so many different areas. And just one thing to touch on too, typically after an event like this, it's typically the FBI who comes in to do the investigation of what happened, right? So it's the Secret Service element is the element that does a protection, and the FBI typically is who's going to come in to investigate what and how did this happen.
Abby, let me ask you this. In terms of what kind of intelligence law enforcement has or is given before an event, we're in prime time campaign season. These candidates are out there.
I'm just wondering what type of security they have at these rallies. I've never been to one of these rallies. My grandmother actually went to one. But I would assume when they hold these rallies and knowing that he is running for office and how much he's not liked by a lot of people, you would assume that they would be really cautious about, obviously, they shouldn't be letting weapons in. So whoever did it somehow managed to sneak a weapon in. He says, thank you. Your channel's the first I heard. Trump was shot. God bless America. God bless Trump and his family. Trump 2024. Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate that. I don't say much, but your title should read former. Well, I had to do it for you're only allowed so many characters in it. So I had to be very I was gonna put more, but I couldn't because you're only allowed so many characters. And I was trying to be careful because YouTube will flag things. And like I said, so former president. We all know who he is though, you know what I'm saying? Thank you so much, McKee, for your support. I really do appreciate that. I did see some comments saying that this was a hoax. If whoever was trying to shoot him really wanted him dead, like they would have shot him. That's not every person that decides to go shoot somebody is a skilled shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know where this person was sitting. We don't know how they had to sneak the weapon in. So if they were actually able to lay down and get aim on him, obviously they weren't. Oh, thank you, classy mom. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was kind of scared to cover this, not gonna lie, but I was like, no, we're gonna do it. Yeah, to my knowledge, I think he's called President Trump, but I only am allowed so many characters, so I have to watch, how I make my titles. But just because he wasn't shot and killed doesn't mean this was not a legit attempt,
They're doing sometimes multiple stops in a day, big crowds lined up. How much does local law enforcement know about potential threats? Maybe somebody in the crowd who has written a nasty email or a letter or that sort of thing.
They do. When you go out, a part of the advance team, when you go out, you work with the local police department. So here he's going to his location, right? He's going to a town, to a city, wherever he's going. You work from the beginning. You have many meetings with the local police department. The president, former president's coming in. He's going to do a rally, and we share intel. The U.S. Secret Service shares their intel. This is what we're hearing from our side. The local police department, typically, because they know what's going on in their community, they're also going to have their ears to the ground. They're going to have intelligence and information. And then we have these meetings. The Secret Service will have these meetings before an event where everybody comes together and everybody shares. I'm hearing this. You're hearing this. What do we need to do? What elements do we need to put in place? So if you're hearing there's a lot of protesters, you're hearing talk that people are going to show up and cause problems, that is all communicated so that you can figure out what you need. And also you can figure out what assets to put into the crowd to blend in. You're seeing the Secret Service suits, you're seeing the tactical team, you'll see uniforms for police department, but they also have an element there that is the unseen. We don't call them undercovers, but there's those agents in law enforcement who will circulate in the area in plain clothes and kind of lend their ear out and hear what's going on.
All right, Eva, you have been a tremendous help helping us understand the mechanics of security in a situation like this. Hopefully we can rely on you again to talk a bit later, but thank you so much. We continue to look at the video, the shocking video, frankly, from Pennsylvania, where earlier this evening, early evening here on the East Coast, someone apparently took shots at the...
You can definitely tell. It looks like it got him in the ear.
Former president, you may not have all the elements that a sitting president would have, right? All the tactical capabilities. So it's going to be, how did that weapon get in? Were there magnetometers? Were people checked for weapons? And then from that point, where was that person positioned, right? How were they able to get in and get that angle of a shot?
Well, as we look at these pictures again, as you described, the former president being rushed into that vehicle to be taken away from the scene, I keep thinking about what's happening in the crowd. Unfortunately, the cameras aren't pointing on.
And I just say I love that we have female Secret Service women who are literally like, they are not scared. They're not running. They literally helped escort the former president to his vehicle to get moving. And they don't even look scared, y'all. I love that. Sorry, that caught my attention.
Were shot, and we saw them get carried out. Like, I don't know, the one didn't look like they were okay. I hope the other one's okay.
There's some women down there.
May God watch over them tonight.
And Dawn, you said two people. Were these two people fellow attendees of the rally? And what kind of did you see them get shot directly, or did you just see the aftermath?
No, you just heard the noise. You heard the pop, pop, pop. Seen the aftermath, and neither of them looked good. They were both down. Nobody was talking. Nobody was moving.
What was going through your mind as you were witnessing all of this?
Are they still here? And am I going to get shot? That's what's going through my mind. He's holding my hand, and we were going to get up and try to get out of here. And some gentleman there said, "No, you stay down." So we stayed down, and then we finally heard everybody evacuate, and he grabbed my hand, and we got out of there.
And Joe, what was your state of mind coming into this rally today? What were you expecting, and what are you feeling now as we all experienced a day that none of us thought would come?
Well, I was excited. I mean, this is our second rally, and the first one, Trump is very energetic when he comes to these, and well, now I want to vote for him more than ever.
Why is that?
Let me tell you guys something. If this was really set up by a particular party, whatever, I don't think it's going to hurt Trump. I think this is going to make people want to vote for him, especially that picture right there. Seeing that this man has someone tried to take him out, and instead he got up and he started fist pumping, saying, fight, 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 fight. I don't think it's going to work the way it was intended, because I think this is going to make people want to vote more for him.
Just to send a message to these people. They can't stop us.
Don't stop us. That's right.
Don, how are you feeling? I mean, you're here with your son. Of course, you want to protect your baby, and you don't want them or yourself to be in any danger. What were those mama instincts in that moment, and how are you feeling right now?
Exactly. My mama instincts were when he grabbed my hand, I knew my son was scared to death because he was holding my hand. He had held my hand since he was probably 5 or 6 years old. And so he held on to my hand, and you can imagine, my heart went into a million pieces. All I kept thinking was, we got to be safe and get out of here. And I agree with Joe, vote for Trump, because this country got to get back in line. This is out of control.
How did you get out ultimately? How did you get here to safety?
That once they evacuated us, because right where we were sitting, we were able to just keep on going. We actually watched snipers and everybody over on the side for a few minutes, but we just got out of there. We were scared.
What did you see from your vantage point of the snipers? These were the people protecting the former president.
That's correct. And now they were over in the lawn. They were watching every single person with their guns going by. I believe the one injured person was over there that they had. Wasn't he on the one on the ground?
Yeah, so before they evacuated, they carried the 2 injured people out. Then they yelled for us to get evacuated. At that point, all the Secret Service were up in our section with the guns, and they were all in the field. Because like I said, rumor was he climbed up the back of our bleacher. So,
Joe, Donna, thank you both so much. I'm so glad you are safe. I know this was not the day that you were expecting, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Don't go too far. I might have some follow-up questions for you. So Lester, there you have it. Another firsthand account. They were right there. This was not the experience anyone was expecting. Still trying to grapple with what just happened here, Lester.
Dasha Burns, thank you for that interview. Very revealing. We should point out it's unconfirmed what those witness accounts were of other people who might have been wounded. We're tracking all that down, and as soon as we have more on that, we'll certainly bring it to you. I want to bring in our investigative correspondent, Tom Winter. He joins us on the phone with some new reporting on the events tonight. Tom?
Lester, incorporating the work of myself and my colleague Jonathan Dean, 2 senior U.S. law enforcement officials tell NBC News that there is a growing concern that this was a serious, or may have been a serious, attempt on the life of former President Donald Trump. Based on the facts of the investigation as they're developing them, again to repeat, 2 senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News that there is a growing concern that this may have been a serious attempt on the life of former President Trump. Lester, I can tell you, as you can well imagine, there is a lot of conflicting information right now as this investigation gets sorted out, what occurred on the ground, who heard what from where, and obviously we're proceeding with extreme caution as to what we're hearing and who may or may not have been involved. But there is definitely a concern that this may have been a serious attempt on former President Trump's life. And why that might be important, some people might say that that would be obvious. You know, different things can happen at these events. You don't know the sequence of events and how it happens. So the fact that there may have been serious intent here, and by somebody that might have been capable of doing this, is why we believe this is newsworthy. So that's the latest that we have right now. It's preliminary information from the scene, from people that have been briefed on what the investigation holds. And so we're going to continue to do our reporting and obviously get right back on with you as we get more information.
Yeah, Tom, stay with me very quickly. I just want to point out we saw some shots of police tape now being put around the area, the stands where former President Trump was apparently shot there earlier. That is now a crime scene. So what you're seeing is, in fact, a crime scene. The Secret Service likely to lead that investigation. But Tom, we've all talked about it. We've seen examples of it, political violence. This is something that law enforcement has been bracing itself for in this campaign season, is it not?
Without a doubt, Lester, I've lost track of the amount of times you and I have talked about it privately in the offices. We've reported on it. the FBI director, in an interview with you directly, said that he was concerned about this type of thing, Lester. And so I think everybody's been concerned about the potential issues, the potential things that could come up during the course of this election, given how divided the country is, given the level of threats. And so that's something that people are acutely focused on, for sure.
All right, Tom, thanks very much. I'll let you get back to your reporting and working out more details as this story develops here tonight. Let's bring in Evie Pomporis, a former Secret Service agent, joining me on the telephone right now. Can you give us a sense from what you have seen, give us your professional eye of what appears to transpire here?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is him attending a rally, speaking at the rally, and then we hear the shots. That it almost sounds like these soft popping sounds. So we hear these multiple shots. We see him put his hands to his ear, and then you see the agents come in. Those agents that come in are the shift. It's his detail team. For them to come in like that, that means this is a serious threat. Something serious happened. We're also seeing the tactical team, and we're looking at the live shot. The shot of the tactical team. That's the element that comes in. When you see the tactical team, their job is to look for the threat. So you have two entities here. The agents in suits, they're the shift. Shift comes in, immediately comes on top of the president, and they are there to surround him and to make sure that the shot hits them. The tactical element that we see come in after, their job is to move out, and we see them facing out toward the crowd, and they are to look for the threat. Clearly, we see the agents that get around him, they shield him, and then they move in this unison to shield him body-wise so that nothing strikes him. They move him slowly down the stairs and make their way to the armored vehicles. That's what we're looking at. Now, Lester, if we're looking at how did this happen, again, this is all alleged, nothing's been confirmed, but if we're looking at what's going on here, what went, and it's soon to say, but how did such a thing happen? When you have rallies like this, ideally, you're supposed to have magnetometers. So that's going to be the first thing they're going to look at. Were there magnetometers, right? How did this weapon get in? Sometimes when it's a former president, you may not have all the elements that a sitting president would have, right? All the tactical capabilities. So it's going to be, how did that weapon get in? Were there magnetometers? Were people checked for weapons? And then from that point, where was that person positioned? Right? How were they able to get in and get that angle of a shot?
Well, as we look at these pictures, again, as you described, the former president being rushed into that vehicle to be taken away from the scene, I keep thinking about what's happening in the crowd. Unfortunately, the cameras aren't pointing on the crowd, but given the number of pops or potential shots we heard, it seems a lot of people were at risk. You've covered these events, no doubt, as have I. A lot of people wanting to get close to their candidate. That's part of what happens in a campaign. How does the Secret Service draw the balance there as to create, a fortress of security at the same time, allowing people to do what people should be doing at rallies like this?
So let's go to your first point where there's people there. When you do these events, and I've done these events, it's called a site advance. When you secure an event like this, you're the site agent. So you have two goals, two missions. I am to protect the President of the United States, right? However, the other goal or mission is the people at this event. So yes, they're targeting, or let's say assuming, right, that again, we don't have confirmation, but when someone is targeting the president, right, if they're going to shoot, yes, he's an issue, but also the people in the area are an issue, right? Where are all these rounds going? So when we hear these sounds, these small, these echoes of what appear to be shots, it wasn't one shot. There were multiple shots, and every round, Lester, has to go somewhere. It lands somewhere. Where are they going? So you've got all these people. So you are responsible not just for the safety of the U.S. president, but you are responsible for the people there. The president, think of him as he's a target, right? Wherever he moves, danger goes with him just because of what he attracts as a sitting U.S. president or a former president or a candidate. So when you put them in a place like this, you also have to think strategically, what about all the people there? Now, you'll see the barricades that are set up. You see the stage that's set up. What you may not see in that shot is you will have ingress and egress elements. That means you want multiple ways in and multiple ways out. So you want movement for the president. You also want to create an alternate movement for him if he can't get out the primary way. So we've got typically at least 2 ways in, 2 ways out. And those vehicles that are staged there, they are positioned there specifically to evacuate him. Because also you're in an open area here, right?
Right.
So you don't have that concealment to cover. You have, whenever you do an open area like this, massive line of sight issues, meaning you can get the threat from so many different ways, so many different areas. And just one thing to touch on too, typically after an event like this, it's typically the FBI who comes in to do the investigation of what happened, right? So it's the Secret Service element is the element that does a protection, and the FBI typically is who's going to come in to investigate what and how did this happen.
Abby, let me ask you this. In terms of what kind of intelligence law enforcement has or is given before an event, we're in primetime campaign season. These candidates are out there doing sometimes multiple stops in a day, big crowds lined up. How much does local law enforcement know about potential threats? Maybe somebody in the crowd who has written a nasty email or a letter or that sort of thing.
They do. When you go out, a part of the advance team, when you go out, you work with the local police department. So here he's going to his location, right? He's going to a town, to a city, wherever he's going. You work from the beginning. You have many meetings with the local police department. The president, former president's coming in. He's going to do a rally, and we share intel. The U.S. Secret Service shares their intel. This is what we're hearing from our side. The local police department, typically because they know what's going on in their community, they're also going to have their ears to the ground. They're going to have intelligence and information. And then we have these meetings. The Secret Service will have these meetings before an event where everybody comes together and everybody shares. I'm hearing this. You're hearing this. What do we need to do? What elements do we need to put in place? So if you're hearing there's a lot of protesters, you're hearing talk that people are going to show up and cause problems, that is all communicated so that you can figure out what you need. And also you can figure out what assets to put into the crowd to blend in. You're seeing the Secret Service suits, you're seeing the tactical team, you'll see uniforms for police department, but they also have an element there that is the unseen. We don't call them undercovers, but there's those agents and law enforcement who will circulate in the
people in like regular clothes. I think they have people like in regular clothes that walk around making sure they don't see anybody that appears to have a weapon.
Area and play in clothes and kind of lend their ear out and hear what's going on.
All right, Evie, you have been a tremendous help helping us understand the mechanics of security in a situation like this. Hopefully we can rely on you again to talk a bit later, but thank you so much. We continue to look at the video, the shocking video, frankly, from Pennsylvania, where earlier this evening, early evening here on the East Coast, someone apparently took shots at the former President Trump. As we heard 2 senior law enforcement officials saying there is a growing concern that there may have been a serious attempt on the life of former President Trump. Apparently his wounds are survivable. He's barely doing okay, but we saw him clutching his ear, a bloodied ear, as he was led from the scene. People heard multiple pops in the crowd. We are continuing to track information we can about any potential other victims in this, people who might have been in that crowd. This was a rally unlike pretty much like so many we have seen throughout this election season. People joyous, people excited about seeing the candidate, hearing what he had to say. Nobody signed up for this, however. I want to go to NBC's Dasha Burns, just outside that Trump rally north of Pittsburgh. Dasha, you were there as the crowds were trying to get out. As you watch the video, of course, your eyes are focused on former President Trump and his reaction, but you're also seeing people in the crowd who seem unaware or don't quite realize what's happening. I suppose that's not unusual. As you were able to exit the grounds, were people beginning to fill in some of the blanks of what they saw and heard?
Yeah, Lester, absolutely. There was a lot of confusion initially. You don't expect something like this to happen going in. There's so much security protocol when you come to a Trump rally. And as we were first hearing those sounds, so many people that I've talked to, myself included, our team here, thought it might have been fireworks. We weren't sure what was going on. Now, as everyone has taken a bit of a breath and is trying to absorb what happened, we now understand that that's not necessarily the case. We are coming to you live right now from the parking lot for this venue. Trump rallies attract thousands and thousands of supporters. There are thousands of cars here. And Lester, we are running into people who have evacuated the rally, are looking for their vehicles and trying to process what just happened. That's how I ran into Aaron here. Aaron was in the front row there near the former president. Aaron, first of all, are you okay? How are you feeling?
I'm okay. I was in the first row. I was directly in front of Trump, my seat. I was looking him in the eye. We heard the pops, maybe 3 minutes into the rally, 3 to 4 minutes. I heard 4 pops, pop, pop, pop. The 4 Secret Service immediately jumped on the stage, and we saw him push President Trump to the ground. Then the gentlemen that have the guns came up to start clear right, clear left. They said, get him up. So they lifted him up, and Trump said, I got to get my shoes on first.
Did his shoes come off?
His shoes must have. We couldn't see it underneath that, but his shoes must have come off when they dropped him down to the ground. First thing he said, we could all hear it. I have to get my shoes on first.
Yep.
And when I stood up, I'm looking at him forward. I see the red teardrop right here of blood, fresh red blood, just a little tear. Then when they got him up and they turned him, I could see the blood from the top of the ear to the bottom. Wasn't gushing, but it was covered. And then he put the fist bump up, stay strong, and they walked him off.
Aaron, what was going through your mind? What did you think when you first heard those sounds?
I thought to see what you just said. I thought it was fireworks, 4th of July. It's been pop, pop, pop. That's what it sounded like. The gentleman behind me, I was one seat. He was to the right of me. He could see the sharpshooter behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. Now, when I called my husband at home, who's watching TV, he said, I thought Trump hurt his ear when he went to the ground. But he said, no, on TV they showed before Trump hit the ground, the ear was bleeding. So that sharpshooter went across, Trump turned his head, his ear must have been nipped, and it killed somebody in the stands over to the left.
Could you see anyone injured besides the blood on the former president?
All I saw was the gentleman from Beaver County who spoke earlier in the day, who was running for the State House Representative, Elmore, I know his name. He had a white shirt on, and I saw him come from that left stands where the people were mostly shot. I think there were several. They said 3 medevacs left here. Blood was down the right side of his. He wasn't shot, but you could see that he was next to somebody who must have been bleeding profusely because he either helped them and ran, rubbed against them or tried to get them help or something. It was covered. So I knew that he was near somebody. That was my first indication that somebody was actually shot when I saw his blood on his shirt.
Aaron, when did you realize that, hey, this might not be fireworks, this might be something else?
When they got Trump down on the ground. And then we were just so concerned that he wasn't hit because we couldn't. It happened so fast. It's really hard to process it. I guess if you have it on your camera to see the exact minute, you can tell. But when he got up, he did not look bad at all. He didn't. He looked very strong. So then I saw that little bit when I saw that blood. I thought, he must have just hurt himself, hopefully. But it does appear that he was probably nicked by that bullet. That Aaron turned his head just in the nick of time, but just.
And Aaron, you were so near to all of this yourself. You were right there. How did you personally feel about your own safety? Were you scared? What was that experience?
I was totally not scared for my own. None of us in that front row went down to the ground. Not a one. We wanted to only help the president. That's all we wanted to do. Either we could protect him, we could stand around him. I didn't see one person in the row hit the ground. Not one. I was shocking. No one was concerned about us. We were only concerned about him.
Now, you're somewhere safe. You're out of there as you're starting to process this. I know we'll all be processing this over the coming days and weeks. How are you feeling now in this moment?
Well, what I've heard coming out here is now they feel that there was 2 shooters on both sides. So they got the one on the tower on this side, but the one on the right side, they never got. So that's why they wanted us to leave immediately because they thought there's still a shooter out there somewhere. So there could be in these woods around Butler.
Aaron, I've covered many Trump rallies. I don't know how many you've been to.
My sixth. This is yours. I was here. I was the fourth car in the parking lot this morning at 20 to 7. So I've worked all day.
You've been here all day.
I knew you were NBC. Yeah.
We're here. Look, the atmosphere coming into a Trump rally, the supporters, very jovial, very celebratory. Typically, people are selling merchandise, food.
Hey guys, I haven't really been keeping that much of an eye on the chat, but I just looked into it. And I just want to remind everybody, we are free to say what we want to say. Obviously, I don't want to have to block anybody or make anybody feel like, oh, we can't express our thoughts and opinions in Elle's chat, because you can, but we have to be respectful of other people's comments. As long as we are saying, hey, this is where I lean, this isn't okay, I don't get respectful. We, don't insult people for their opinions. Let's just keep it. Bottom line is, whoever did this obviously is not in their right mind and had too much hate in their heart, because I don't think the only way I hate somebody enough to want to hurt them is if they do something to my children. Okay. And I don't think Trump has done anything really to anybody's child that would warrant somebody shooting at him. And I don't care where you lean. Nobody deserves to be killed for their politics or, what they want to do with their life, unless what they want to do really, really hurts people. So let's just keep our opinions respectful. Let's respect other people's opinions. And also, I've seen several other people come in about the title. The title, you were only allowed so many characters when making your title. So I did not put former president. Sometimes former presidents are still called president from time to time. Also, somebody come in asking about the titles, like other titles on YouTube. YouTube is kicking videos like this. I know several that's been taken down already. So we are having to be kind of careful with how we word our titles. Okay. All right, let's continue.
What were you coming in with today, and what are you leaving with tonight?
Well, I was here 4 years ago when he was in Butler. It was like 58,000 people. I tell people it was the most magical night of my life. When he came on that helicopter and circled 2 times, he had 4 rallies that night. It was just an unbelievable night. And I was anticipating to be another unbelievable night, but not this way. And it's just very sad. I mean, all these people that came to see him and to have him hurt, I can't even describe it, I just feel sad. I feel sad for our country. I feel sad for everybody, I mean, you don't like the guy, don't vote for him. Don't kill him. We love the guy. We're going to vote for him. I mean, what is up with his violence? I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, I just wish that people that, I'm glad that guy's no longer with us anymore in that tower. And I hope they get the other one too. And I hope they don't nick him. I hope they get him. He's down.
Erin, thank you so much. I'm so glad. No, I'm so glad you're safe. I know it's a lot to process today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Absolutely.
A lot of people knew that
right.
must have fallen off.
The shoes in new detail. And Lester, of course, this is an eyewitness account. We don't have those details confirmed. This is what Erin witnessed from her vantage point. We will wait for law enforcement to give us those details. But again, this is a developing situation. And right now, Erin and so many others just trying to make their way home, as there are thousands of people who were in this parking lot. Quite a bit of a traffic jam at this point, as people are trying to make their way out. And of course, Lester makes sense of what it is that they just witnessed.
Yeah, Dasha, thank you for your continued great reporting there as we get these accounts, and it bears reiterating. Look, folks, there are things that we're hearing, things we're learning. We will tell them to you when we can confirm them. Obviously, the witnesses has been describing potentially other victims in this, and we continue to work that angle very aggressively. As we know more, we'll tell you about this. The same in terms of what we will hopefully be able to learn about who was behind this attack. As soon as we can tell you something we can verify, we will go right to that. Our senior White House correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, joins us now. Kelly, talk to me about reaction from the Biden administration, obviously watching this with great concern tonight.
Well, Lester, there are important steps that the administration takes at this point. The current president has been briefed by the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, and of course, her agents were with former President Trump, are getting direct information from the scene to the president. In addition, the president has been talking with his Secretary of Homeland Security and his Homeland Security advisor inside the White House. That, of course, is Alejandro Mayorkas, the secretary at the cabinet level, and Liz Sherwood Randall, who advises the president on potential homeland threats inside the United States. In this moment, it is not candidate and candidate. This is the sitting president having to deal with the law enforcement piece, the national security implications, and sort of the mindset of the nation when an event like this happens. So the president is getting those threads of information coming into him. He is in Delaware right now. The vice president has also received an initial briefing. And certainly we are also hearing from others who have had their own experience and still do with the Secret Service. Former President George W. Bush putting out a statement saying that he and Laura Bush are grateful to the Secret Service that they were able to get former President Trump to safety, and they're concerned, of course, about what this incident was about, and they thank first responders for their swift action. So all the apparatus of the federal government shifts to deal with something like this. The Secret Service is involved in the investigation. They're also, of course, involved in the day-to-day protection of the former president. I have been told, based on my reporting, that the level of protection that he would receive as a former president, which has been his existence these last 3.5 years, heading into the convention in Milwaukee, he would be getting a larger detail as the presumptive candidate going forward. So expecting already plans in the works for him to have a more robust set of agents and procedures around him. They're also, of course, waiting to envelop the new running mate to be named at some point, and that person would also have Secret Service protection when former President Trump announces his pick. What happened today rattles the very core of the Secret Service. They do train for this. They are dealing with this potential threat at every event all the time. Here at the White House, where I am right now, no visible sign of any enhanced security. They are focused on certainly the events surrounding the former president at that location. It would also include state and local authorities who would be on the ground participating in the investigation, which would typically be led by the FBI. So as far as any contact from the president, he's got a team of senior advisors around him who are able to give him direct information from the Secret Service, as well as the Department of Justice, law enforcement, and importantly, those Homeland Security advisors, both at the cabinet level and inside the White House, who may have more of a picture about potential threats or concerns that our colleague Tom Winter was talking about. That's where we are at this point from the White House, Lester.
Kelly O'Donnell, thank you very much. Excuse me. The good news is, again, we saw the former president leaving, getting into the car, pretty much under his own power, certainly supported and escorted to safety. But he looks like he will be okay. And once again, flashing that triumphant fist that is characteristic of many of his campaigns. For those of you just tuning in, we want to play for you the moment when Secret Service agents rushed former President Trump off the stage. We want to caution you that we don't know exactly who said what's captioned on the screen or why they said it, because it was such a chaotic moment. But here it is.
Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
I am reading that the Secret Service is who obviously took out the shooter. I am reading that as I'm looking for things as we're watching this. Sorry, guys.
Let's move. Let's move. Come on.
And again, that moment of chaos, you hear the screams in the crowd as people are beginning to learn that something is amiss there. Our investigative correspondent, Tom Winter, is with us on the phone. He continues to get reaction and national security details. What can you tell us now?
Lester, while I'm on the phone with you, one of my colleagues is on the phone with the local district attorney in that county who tells NBC News that the alleged shooter, the person they believe responsible for this event, is in fact deceased. So again, to repeat, the local district attorney in the area where the Trump rally is telling one of our colleagues right now that in fact the alleged shooter, the person they believe to be responsible for this, is deceased. We do not yet have a name or identity of that individual. We don't know their background, where they may have come from, any sort of personal motivations. That's information we're still trying to gather. But that's the headline. The second component of this, 3 senior U.S. law enforcement officials tell myself and colleague Jonathan Dienst that there appear to have been, or they're looking into whether or not several other individuals were shot that were in the crowd. Those are not individuals suspected to be involved in this. Those were either rally goers or bystanders, but they're looking into whether at least 2 other individuals were shot as well. So that's the latest up.
So right now, former President Trump obviously shot. It seemed to have grazed his ear. He's fine. Secret Service appears to have taken out the shooter, but there's others that have been shot. People that had nothing to do with this, just was there to be a part of the rally, more than likely. As far as right now, we don't have any information on them, though.
That would seem to indicate to us a couple of things. One, they believe they know who did this. They believe they know where they were, potentially what they were using, and they can now start to do a lot of detailed investigative work. We don't know, although there is no indication at this time that any other individual was involved, but obviously it's very early and very preliminary on that front, and a lot more work will presumably need to be done.
Yeah, let me just follow up on that. I think you may have answered the question, but we did hear from one witness a bit earlier who seemed to believe that there were 2 individuals involved. You're saying that the local DA is saying 1 shooter is deceased. So the belief is that it is a single shooter?
The belief at this time is that that's the case, because what they said was that the person they believe is responsible is deceased. So they did not indicate that there were any other individuals. But that's, again, Lester, as you well know, we're less than 2 hours into this. And so there's a lot of information, a lot of things that are fluid on the ground. And just because this individual may or may not have been assisted by others at this rally, did they have any sort of help in any other way? Those are big questions that'll be answered in the next couple of minutes or hours. Typically, based on past events, as you know, this is usually just 1 individual that's involved. But of course, investigators have to keep their minds open. And as reporters who are relying on that information, the investigation that is going on in our own homework, we're keeping our minds open too.
And Tom, you and your team certainly have a huge depth of experience in these kind of breaking news matters, especially when they involve issues like what we're seeing play out here. Is it likely this thing is going to unfold very quickly, that they will work backwards from the moment of the shooting and have a pretty good idea of what they're dealing with?
So let's take for law enforcement worst case scenario with respect to the investigation. If this individual had no identity on him, no sort of background, the FBI would be able to instant fingerprint him at the scene. They would be able to get information, and either that way they'd look into facial recognition to see if they could identify him in any sort of government database. From there, you might know where the individual lives, any relatives. They will comb through every inch and ounce of his social media. They will have the ability to go to social media companies and ask for an emergency warrant, and they will most certainly be granted to get access to those communications, cell phone communications, text communications.
Right, Tom?
All of that will be part of the instant investigation.
I apologize to ask you a question, then I have to interrupt you, but we are getting some confirmation. The Butler County DA is now telling us that one spectator has died in this incident. 1 has been apparently wounded and is in critical condition, and the shooter, as Tom has been reporting, is dead. So to repeat that news, and this comes via the Butler County DA, 1 spectator at this Trump rally is dead. Another is in critical condition, and the shooter, what we believe right at this hour, the lone shooter, is also dead. And as our colleague Tom Winter was reporting, they will work very quickly and work backwards, and will likely know a lot about this individual in a short amount of time. You see former President Trump trying to acknowledge the crowd while being obviously stunned and being led to the safety of an armored vehicle, but it appears that he is okay, suffering what we've all been able to see, some sort of a graze type wound to his ear. We hear him, asking for his shoes. He is led away. He continues to turn toward the crowd to offer a sense of assurance that he is okay. He is now clear of that scene as people continue to leave, all of them telling stories of hearing these pops. Some of them, one woman we had on was able to describe the shooter. Now that we've got that confirmed, her account certainly jibes with what we're getting now from the officials in Butler County, Pennsylvania. And that is the crowd here trying.
Once again, I'm going to say this again, seeing the Secret Service women, just literally, I love that. Right here on the other side of the vehicle, like that woman still had her weapon out.
Her account certainly jibes with what we're getting now from the officials in Butler County, Pennsylvania. And that is the crowd here trying to rally their spirits. And certainly this was several minutes apparently into the former president's rally there in Pennsylvania when this occurred. Multiple what sounded like shots, pops, but we presume there were gunshots fired in his direction as he was looking to the right, and a little unclear. He grabs his ear, and then you can see this team of Secret Service agents can quickly swarm him, confirm that he is clear, out of danger, the risk nullified, and then he is escorted to his vehicle and to safety. That area you're looking at right now is a crime scene. We've seen subsequent pictures where you see the police crime tape, and they will treat it as any other crime scene and try to get the details of this. We don't know what.
Okay, I will say on X, there is a video up, the blonde broker. I'm not going to show it, but they either have the shooter or the spectator that was killed, and you can actually see them carrying him down the stairs. Now, obviously, people standing in the way. It's the blonde broker. I know some people are kind of like me, and they are interested in these things, and they want to know everything, and they're any part of it. They want to look, and they want to see the pictures, and they want to see the video. I'm very much like that. But I don't know if you guys are all like that. And if I show it on YouTube, it'll get taken down for sure. But the blonde broker on X has a video up. It says they got the footage of Trump's potential shooter being dragged out of the rally by the police. And he is, whoever they're dragging out looks like he's been shot already because looks probably deceased. You can see blood on his arm and stuff like that. And the cops are carrying him out. Now, I don't know if this was the shooter or if this was the spectator. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to tell. Well, actually, never mind. I think that was the spectator because it looks like the shooter was actually on the roof somewhere. I'm seeing another picture saying, no, the shooter was on the roof, and there's actually a picture of like police officers. But I don't know if that's actually the shooter or not. I can tell you whoever this is, it looks like they're putting cuffs on him. It looks like he's wearing ACU pants with the military grade undershirt, like that tan undershirt. I know it's like more news is going to be coming out. So honestly, everything right now just needs to be allegedly or a theory, until we hear more.
What this means in terms of the exact injury that former President Trump received, what treatment he may be receiving, what this will do to his ability to campaign. We certainly, of course, expect to see him in this coming week as the Republican National Convention is about to begin on Monday in Milwaukee. So RNC officials certainly trying to figure that out. But right now, the greatest concern is from that angle is the health of the former president. And of course, thoughts also turning now to the one spectator who was killed in this, another spectator who was in critical condition from a wound sustained during all this. NBC's Dasha Burns is just outside that Trump rally north of Pittsburgh.
All right, we're going to go to X really quickly. Icket Mail, who is another creator, shared this video. And that appears to be, I don't know if I should be showing this honestly either. Honestly, I was thinking, never mind. Because honestly, he's up there deceased because they've shot him. For some reason, I was thinking it's just like a picture of him up there, and you won't be able to tell that he's deceased, but you actually kind of can because his body's kind of twisted up. So it looks like let me see. Don Jr.'s Twitter has the picture. Let me look. He'll never stop fighting to save America. I'm just going to say, if he was my dad, like if Donald Trump was my dad and I was one of his kids, that would scare the hell out of me. I'd be like, listen, maybe it's time for you to stop this. Maybe it's time for you just to be grandpa to the kids because you're going to die and we don't want you to die. Disgraceful violence is not okay. Exactly. Any kind of violence. It's just not okay. I don't understand how people could feel like this would ever be okay. I'm really wondering how many shooters there were because one on the roof, one on a tower. Like, where were they? How many were they? And right now, it's too early for everything to be confirmed.
Pittsburgh, she has been giving us plenty of updates here. Dasha, as you've heard, we've now been able to confirm that at least one spectator has been killed in this, and the shooter himself is dead.
Lester, just for those who are joining us in this moment, just a reminder that our team, we were in the press pen when this happened. We were in front of a camera, just getting off camera as the former president started to speak. Just a few minutes into his speech, this transpired. We ran for cover as we were trying to figure out what exactly had happened, initially thinking it was fireworks, then realizing it could be something more serious. And now, of course, we know deadly. I am in the parking lot right now, just outside of this venue. This is where press and general attendees have had their cars parked. This is where we evacuated to when we were told to leave the site. That is now a crime scene. And I've been running into witnesses here as people have been trying to find their cars, trying to make their way out. And that is where I ran into a man named Joseph, and I want to introduce him to you now. And as we just learned, Joseph, you weren't listening to the program here, but Lester Holt, NBC News, just reporting that one of the attendees.
Okay, so President Biden did make a post, so we're going to look at President Biden's post. Former President Barack Obama made a post as well, so we're going to look at those really quickly. All right, so President Biden 15 minutes ago said, I have been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who are at the rally as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting them to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. I did see some people mentioning this, that, President Biden said something recently about we're done talking about the dates. Time to put Trump in the bullseye. All right, so let's see what President Obama said. Where's Biden live at? All right, let's go. All right, you guys bear with me.
So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to him tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
Let's back it up a little bit.
He's in the federal government. Thanks for coming, folks. I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that people we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried for President safety? With the security failing, Mr. President?
Okay, so former President Barack Obama stated there's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't know yet exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. Okay, and then we have another. This video actually shows us kind of more about what happened from another view, from another angle. So
Took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened. Took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
I'm just trying to figure out what angle like the shooter was at, because if it grazed his ear, I would imagine it was coming from in front or behind, right? In front or behind. So if it grazed his ear, it definitely wasn't coming from the sides. The video that I watched, it looked like somebody behind him was being carried out. But I'm leaning more towards it come from behind and hit his ear going that way. Right? Sounds like a type of silencer. I'm thinking it came from behind him. What do you guys think? Kathleen, you said you were there in the front row. Any idea where it came from? What angle it came from? Yeah, I think right. I think that was the spectator that got shot. So I think the spectator, when I was looking at this video, I thought it could have been back there behind him, the spectator, but everybody is standing up, seems to be cheering. I don't see anybody looking down over a body. So I'm wondering if it was the other way and he was shot from behind. She is still in traffic, shaking up there, searching the cars in line. Oh, wow. Okay, so Kathleen said she was there. She is still in traffic, shaking up. They're searching the cars. Yeah, they're gonna have a full-blown investigation. They're probably not gonna let many people leave. I would assume middle or left. Came from behind. Okay, see, that's what I was thinking, maybe from behind. Let's see. I'm getting some information on who this guy is, but I don't know if this is true. All right. Y'all bear with me. We're gonna look at this real quick, but I really don't know if this is true. So it's information about who it was, like a name and everything. And I'm gonna look this name up and see if it comes up anything. Where was the spectator that sadly lost their lives? That would indicate more where this came from. It had have come from the front, maybe up high. He turned his head and it grazed him and hit someone behind him. I heard the gunman was on the rooftop. Female is the one alive. A man was shot in the head and killed instantly. A witness said it looked like time. Female is the one alive. Apparently, he said man looked like he was in the way of the shot to hit Trump. Oh, wow. So there was someone that's got in the way, I guess. With how many videos were being taken, someone had to see something, yes. Well, there's a video of the man on the roof that's on X. So there is, you can kind of see, and it looks like he's wearing ACUs. And a part of me was like, I don't know if I should even play this.
I can see the guy there. I think they hit him because the guy looks dead. Tá vendo? Lá em cima, né? Aqui, ó. You can see the guy there.
Let's see.
I think they hit.
Has deceased, has died from injuries as a result of the shooting. Joseph, you told me off camera that you may have witnessed this, and I'm so sorry to be talking to you in this tragic moment, but can you describe what it is that you saw?
I was attending the rally. I was in the set of bleachers, the very far left of the podium where President Trump was speaking. I was there with friends. I heard several gunshots. The man beside me suffered a gunshot wound to the head, was instantly killed, fell to the bottom of the bleachers. Another woman looked like she got hit in the forearm or hand. And then at that point in time, it was rather chaotic at that point because half the people were looking because they thought it was fireworks. I knew it was gunshots right away. My friend, he hit the deck. I was kind of looking around just trying to see where the shots were coming from. It seemed to me like the shots were coming from behind the bleachers. It seemed to me the man got hit in the head from behind. He was killed instantly, as far as I could tell. And at that point, state police and a SWAT team, started evacuating the bleachers, and then I helped carry the man out of the bleachers to a tent that was behind the bleachers.
You helped carry the man yourself. What was his condition when you were carrying him?
He's deceased. He died.
How close were you to him?
A couple yards. I mean, it wasn't very far.
Did you know the man?
No, that's a police ranger. They put a towel over his head and then carried him off.
And you said there was another woman nearby who was also injured. Where was she in relation to him?
I believe she was in the bleachers, like either above me or just to the side of him. But it seemed like she was kind of at my flank, and then she flinched, and it looked like she had taken a gunshot wound to the forearm and hand.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard multiple gunshots, 8 to 11 shots. We've been hearing it replayed on the video here. Do you remember, can you tell, I know it was a chaotic scene, but at what point, was it immediately when you heard the gunshots that he was shot, or was it later on into the firing?
The first 7, he was hit and
Hey, Kathleen, Miss Kathleen, if you are in your car and you're not driving, if you want to come on and talk, I can bring you on. I can send you a link to an email address, and I can bring you on, and you can tell us what you've seen. Or I can, I'm going to put my email in the chat, Miss Kathleen. Shoot me an email if you can. Just say, hey, this is Miss Kathleen, and I can bring you on from your phone if you're on a phone.
she was hit within the first 7 shots. I counted 7 shots.
What was going through your mind? You were right there. I know it happened so quickly, but what can you tell us about those moments?
First, I was in shock because I know what gunshots sound like, so I knew they were gunshots. I couldn't tell from where they were coming from. And when I noticed someone got hit, then I noticed, well, it seemed like they were coming from behind me, and it just was pandemonium. And then I heard some more shots, and I couldn't quite tell where they were coming from. But I counted the first 7; they were very loud and very close. And it killed one man and wounded another woman.
And Joseph, you told me that you're a doctor, you're an OBGYN. How did that background play into how quickly you were sort of able to assess the situation and know what happened to these individuals and know what was going on?
Well, I told the police, I tried to render assistance. I told the police I could render assistance. They had another physician on the EMT team, so they kind of took over. So they weren't really need me, so I kind of helped carry them down initially out of the bleachers. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't, the man that got hit, there was no assistance that needed to be given. And unfortunately, his family witnessed the whole thing. It seemed like he had several family members in the bleacher with him, and they were quite upset. They didn't know, they were in shock. They didn't quite know what's going on, but the man was definitely killed instantaneously.
Could you tell sort of how many family members or people who knew him were with him, and what was their reaction?
I thought there was 5 people. 2 of them were relatively hysterical. So, but they were, when we took the man out of the bleachers, he went to the tent. There was an aid tent or some type of tent behind the bleachers where they took the body, and they immediately evacuated the family with them. And 2 out of the 5, it seemed like, in shock, hysterical. Like they were still trying to process what was going on.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard the shots. We saw the president go down.
Yeah, I saw President Trump get hit.
Yeah. What can you tell us? What details you remember?
It seemed like his head was off to the side, and it seemed like he got nicked in the ear.
Was that before the Secret Service took him down to the ground, covered him?
Right before the Secret Service. I mean, it was maybe, again, it's hard to tell, time dilates when, it seemed like it was a second or 2. Like that first 7 shots that went off, the man got hit. He was killed almost instantly. The woman in the bleachers, she got injured, like she got hit in the forearm and the hand. And then in those rounds that were fired, again, I was videoing the event, so that's when I saw Trump get hit. And it seemed to me like he was looking to the side and the round grazed his ear. So
could you tell the gentleman that was hit in the head what angle he was in relation to the former president, like which direction the bullets were coming from and to?
So it looked like he was facing the president at the very far left portion of the bleachers. So he's directly facing it. Again, it seemed to me like the shots were coming from the rear, like behind us. And for me, it seemed like the man was in the way. Like, I guess.
In the way of the former president.
No, it seemed like the man was in the way of the shots between whoever was shooting the gun and the president. The man was hit. It seemed like he was in the crossfire.
And I know, and I know you're in shock and still processing all of this. It's sort of hard to evaluate our own emotions in this moment, but you just experienced something horrific.
Yes.
What can you tell us about your state of mind right now?
Yeah, I've had opportunities to go to these rallies before. It's the first one I ever went to. Had time off to go do it. I was kind of excited to go, but it's everyone, it's something you don't expect. It comes out of the blue. It's like a bolt out of the blue, and it's shocking. The way politics goes in this country, it just seems like it's really polarized. Everyone's just very angry. I'm honestly shocked this didn't happen earlier. I was commenting to my friend who went to the event with me. I was like, the back behind the bleachers, it's really open. It seems like a really open venue. And it just, I got this sense that, if someone really wanted to do something, again, I was openly talking to her. And I was like, if something was bad was going to be happening, this is the perfect venue to have. I just said this like an hour before it happened. I was like, this would be the perfect place to do it. And, surprisingly enough, it happened.
A devastatingly prescient observation from you. Let me ask you one more question, because from where I was, there was confusion. Then Trump stood up and there were some cheers. And then people sort of remained, those that weren't in sort of the immediate zone where you were, people were still sort of cheering, talking, trying to figure out what was going on. How quickly did you know that whether or not there was still a dangerous situation? It seemed like people sort of started to try to move on very quickly, not sure what had happened, right? So how soon did you know whether or not it was even safe? Did you want to get out of there? What did you witness in sort of the immediate aftermath once the shots stopped?
Well, it seemed like the shots went off. Everyone thought it was a prank. Everyone, I think, got a sense, like when I looked out into the crowd, I think the initial reaction, everyone thought it was a prank. I knew better it was a gunshot because I just saw a guy get hit. And it did.
For those of us that didn't see, some people started laughing, some people were confused. It wasn't immediately clear to the crowd that didn't witness what you witnessed, that this was in fact a dangerous and deadly situation.
Oh, it was a dangerous and deadly situation. The problem is it's a large crowd, and when the gunshots went off, I think they were, again, my sense was they were being shot from behind, so they sounded a bit muffled. So it sounded more like a firecracker going off. So I think the initial reaction from the people around me were like, okay, well, someone brought fireworks. I just knew better. I know what gunshots sound like. And, when I saw the guy took a gunshot wound to the head, and I saw the woman who got hit in the forearm and the hand, I just knew that it wasn't fireworks. I mean, it wasn't fireworks initially, but I think the majority of the crowd didn't understand that it was gunfire. And I think people took it really seriously when the SWAT team started jumping over the rails. So I don't know what to tell you outside of that.
Joseph, I know this. I can't imagine what it takes to describe what you just witnessed in these moments, right in the aftermath. So we thank you so much for sharing.
I'm happy to.
Lester.
Dasha, thank you for that account. I mean, no one should have to, fear for their life going to a political rally, something that is uniquely American. But these people have experienced the horror of someone opening fire on the crowd, and a former president who was, of course, the headliner at this rally tonight. As we've been reporting, one spectator is dead, another is in critical condition. The shooter, this all according to the Butler County DA, the shooter is also deceased. Our senior White House correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, joins us again. Kelly, you have a new statement from President Biden.
That's correct, Lester. This is from President Biden, who is in Rehoboth, and he talks about this incident. He begins by saying, I've been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who are at the rally as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. The words of Joe Biden after learning about this incident involving his predecessor and his current rival in the political environment of this 2024 campaign. The president has been briefed by top officials. He has been talking with Homeland Security officials, and he is at his home in Rehoboth, Delaware, where he has a full complement of the things needed for the office, where he can get the income streams of all the relevant information. This first statement coming from President Biden, I would not be at all surprised if we don't hear more from him tonight as new developments take place. Lester?
All right, Kelly, thank you for that. Terry Schultz is with the Butler County, Pennsylvania District Attorney's Office and was at the rally. She is still there and joins me on the phone. Terry, first of all, if you can just walk us through what you saw, where you were in this crowd.
You know, we didn't have VIP seats. We were a few rows back, enough that we could, you know, see the former president, and then we were all standing there watching the jumbotron they had put him on. And the next thing we did was we hear 3 shots. I see kind of his head, the former president's head, go sideways. You know, you can see kind of like, you know, blood. And at that point, I wasn't looking at anything. I was with some friends. They were like, you need to get down. Everybody get down. The people around me, there were some young people crying. And to be honest with you, at the time this happened, I wasn't even sure they were gunshots. But then we heard like 3 or 4 shots, and then we heard shots kind of returned. A friend of mine videotaped that, and we just watched that, and that's what we saw and what we heard.
From your vantage point, were you able to see where the shots were coming from? Was it obvious?
It was not, but you could hear them, and as soon as you heard the shots, your head turned towards the left. We have a route that runs outside the Butler Farm Show, Route 68, and it sounded like the shots were coming from out there near the field to the left-hand side of where we were. So it certainly was scary.
You know, we look at the videotape and it appears some people didn't quite realize what was happening at the moment. Were you one of them who was not quite sure what you were witnessing?
It's a couple of months old, and if you want to really
absolutely, and again, until I was with some friends, and my girlfriend is like, you have to get down. People around us were pulling us down and saying, you have to get down. So I can tell you that it was chaos at the time.
Have you been to one of these rallies before?
I have not. It was my first time at a rally, and I was certainly excited, you know, to go to one. We had so many people there. But I can tell you the chaos that this created. Everyone was scared. You know, you see the former president and what's happening, and you know, and then when I ascertained what had happened from my Pennsylvania State Police friends, it was very scary. But it was my understanding that they got the shooter. But that really doesn't make a difference because it was just scary. Yeah,
that's our understanding is the shooter is deceased, and again, one of the spectators as well, and one critically hurt, a spectator, and the former president is going to be okay. But you bring up a point I think we will all be talking about, and that is, of course, we don't know what the motivation was for this, but it certainly comes at a time that.
We're going to jump over to something else. A guy saying that he warned the Secret Service that there was a suspicious guy on the roof and nothing. He was ignored. Let's go to that.
You know, but yeah, and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know, but we noticed the guy crawling. Bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, you know, we're pointing, We're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, I mean, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, we just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
If that is accurate, that, I mean, maybe they just couldn't hear, but still, this is literally JFK 2.0. I'm a little bit late on this out. What happened to the shooter? Did he kill himself? They're saying the sniper took out the shooter, but the shooter was able to shoot several shots. Makes you wonder why exactly did they ignore him? Prayers for Trump. Yeah, I am reading that allegedly it was an Antifa activist. I'm seeing a name. I've gotten a name, but I'm not seeing this confirmed. It's just a rumor as of right now. But the name is a guy, Mark Violet. I don't know if I looked the name up itself, but from what I'm reading, assassination attempt on former President Trump. It's not a Pennsylvania rally. Breaking. Butler Police Department confirms the arrest of Trump shooter identified as Mark Violet. See, this is why I don't know if this is true, because it's saying that there is an arrest. We are being told that he was taken out by Secret Service. He allegedly uploaded a video on YouTube before the attack, claiming justice was coming. Antifa extremist Mark Violet, shown below, has been identified by the Butler, PA Police Department as has been reported that he was shot and, okay, well, this one says he was shot and unalived. So we don't even know what's going on at this point. But the name that I'm seeing is Mark Violet, and Mark Violet. I don't know if that's accurate. If that building had a line of sight to the former president, it should have been watched at all times. Exactly. I'm kind of scared to even really be on Twitter right now with this because there's so much that we don't know if we want to see. Brian Enton, who is a journalist, says shooter dead, a rally attendee killed at Trump event in Pennsylvania. Butler County District Attorney tells AP. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. He is fine as being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. I know the vibes. We are all in trouble now. What? Where's the effing shooter? Okay, I'm not. That's where they're carrying somebody out, but I don't think that's the shooter. Oh, Lord. Well, it looks like this page is going to be flooding all social media. Let's take a moment to appreciate this hero for killing the shooter only seconds after he opened fire on President Trump. Is that who took the shooter out? It looks like my brother-in-law, actually. Sean, are you here? Does that not look like Joe? Actually, pretty identical to a photo I've seen of Joe in his military gear. Is that not wild, Sean? Tommy Lauren, our fighter, our president. God, please protect our president. Oh my goodness, really? Karen and I are praying for President Trump and urge every American to join us. Sketchy, thought you didn't like Trump. Janelle, are you really right now going to do that? Like, come on, just send well wishes. And now is the time for every American who loves our country to step back from the division, renounce all violence, and unite in prayer for President Trump and his family. That's not Sean's brother, but it actually looked just like him. Sean's brother is former military, and there's actually a photo of him. We have a photo of him. I don't know if we have it. I've seen it. Of him wearing shades and like helmet just like that. No words. Donald J. Trump for president of the United States. This election is now over. And honestly, to be quite honest, I think does this say Zelensky? Wow, this was CNN's Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Wow. All right then.
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, "He's been shot! He's been shot!" So I made my way over. I said, "I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you." The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There's lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. Oh, and no. So I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got him up on the bench. Shot that you saw? Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
I was the only one that did it.
We need to evacuate everybody. Hunter, that's exactly where I heard him come from.
What did you see, sir?
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, "He's been shot! He's been shot!" So I made my way over. I said, "I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you." The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There's lots of blood, and he had brain matter. And so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got him up on the bench. Shot that you saw? Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
I was the only one
You
that
guys,
did it.
we need to evacuate everybody.
Hunter, that's exactly where I heard him come from.
What did you see, sir?
Okay, so yes, former President Barack Obama issued a statement. Biden did a little press conference. And right now, as it stands, what seems to be confirmed is obviously he was shot in the ear, but he is okay. Former President Trump, he is being seen at a medical facility. The shooter was taken out by a Secret Service man, and another person has been confirmed to be deceased, a spectator, as well as one person injured. And even in one of the videos, you can see a girl being toted out. I think that's the girl that was shot in the arm. But yeah, shooter is alive at this point. But yeah, I got to get inside, you guys. I got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. This is wild. I wasn't even planning on going live. And normally I don't cover politics, but I was literally coming back from the gym when I got this information. And I was like, we got to talk about this. This is crazy. Let's see what's happening. I had the video. So I was like, let's do the video. We may keep up with this, you guys, just because we may be doing lives about this. But if we do, I just want everybody to remember to be respectful with their opinions. It's also being reported that Trump's ear was cut by glass from teleprompter and not grazed by a bullet. Maybe, it's hard to say. Anyways, I will see you guys Monday. Bye, everyone. Make sure you like this video on your way out. Bye, guys.